I was hopelessly in love with Isabel for 10 years. Everyone thought I couldn't live without her. But when I saw yet another set of intimate photos of her with someone else, I didn't feel a single thing. I didn't bother asking her why she was tangled up with another man, nor did I go running to my parents in tears. Instead, it was she who cautiously tried to explain herself to me. It's nothing with him. If you don't believe me, I'll call him over. You can ask him yourself. I emotionlessly handed her the divorce papers. Just sign this. We'll both be free. Her face was a mask of disbelief, her knuckles turning white as she gripped the papers. I never wanted a divorce. But I do, Isabel. I don't love you anymore. Mike, there are reporters outside. Should I create a diversion after work so you and your driver can leave through the underground garage? My assistant, Ben, watched my face anxiously, terrified I was about to explode. I put down the document in my hand and looked up at him, confused. Reporters? Ben swallowed hard. It's Ms. Isabel, sir. She's in the news again. Ms. Isabel? For a second, it didn't register. The internet is saying that last night, she was with a male streamer. Ben trailed off, looking at me hesitantly. I ignored him and picked up my phone. A quick glance at my social media app confirmed it. Rumors about Isabel were the top story. I clicked on a random post, and the first thing I saw was a photo of Isabel holding a glass of wine in one hand, the other arm wrapped ambiguously around a well-built man. From the articles, I learned the man's name was Ethan, an influencer on some streaming platform. Isabel was apparently his top donor, having sent him millions of dollars in gifts over the past 6 months. Looking at the photos, I nodded and commented, "Not bad. Her taste has improved. This boyfriend is definitely better looking than the last few." Ben stared at me, astonished. "Mike, you're not angry?" "I'm angry for you. Why should I be angry?" I asked, more to myself than to him. I was surprised, too. Why wasn't I angry? Looking at the picture of Isabel, I felt like I was seeing a stranger. Isabel was my wife. Everyone knew I was crazy about her. In the past, whenever a scandal like this broke, I would cry and throw a fit, completely devastated. But now, seeing her with another man, I felt nothing. Not a single ripple. It was like looking at a familiar face I no longer knew. That's when I realized it. The person I cared about most had finally become a nobody to me. I didn't love her anymore. The feeling was bizarre, like a heavy chain had suddenly fallen off my shoulders. I felt light, almost joyful. Ben's voice pulled me out of my thoughts. "Mike, should I have security get rid of those paparazzi?" "No, let them be. You can run, but you can't hide. I'm not the one who did anything wrong. So why should I be the one avoiding reporters?" I put on my sunglasses, picked up my briefcase, and went downstairs. Sure enough, a swarm of reporters was waiting at the company entrance. The moment they saw me, they rushed forward. "Mike, what are your thoughts on Ms. Isabel and the streamer Ethan? What's your impression of Ethan? Did your wife spend the night with him yesterday? We hear Ms. Isabel has gifted him tens of millions. Do you have any comment on that?" I adjusted my sunglasses and calmly answered each question in turn. "That's their business. I have no opinion. Ethan seems like a handsome guy. As for whether they spent the night together, I really wouldn't know. I wasn't there. Our finances are separate. How she spends her money is her business. I have no objections." I maintained a faint smile the entire time, my composure unshaken. There was none of the hysterical, furious breakdown they were hoping for. This wasn't the first time I'd been cornered by reporters over Isabel's scandals. But before, I'd always been a total wreck. After every one of her affairs, my haggard face would end up on the front page the next day, making me a public laughingstock. Maybe my reaction was so unexpected that the paparazzi thought I was faking it. One of them yanked the sunglasses off my face as a dozen cameras flashed in my eyes. But the face they captured had no dark circles, no red-rimmed eyes from crying. "The flash is a bit bright. Could I have my sunglasses back, please?" I smiled and held out my hand. The reporter resentfully shoved them back into my hand. My picture still ended up trending online. In the photos, I was well-dressed and composed, completely unaffected by Isabel's cheating. The media speculated whether we were already divorced. Some said I'd stopped loving her a long time ago. Netizens were buzzing. Have you guys noticed? For the past year, Mike has been all about his career. He probably stopped caring a long time ago. True, you barely see them together anymore. He used to be glued to her side 24/7. Is Mike finally ditching that train wreck? Thank God. He's finally over being a lovesick puppy. Seeing all the supportive comments, I quietly gave them all a like. I went back to work as usual. I had just taken over the JM Corporation from my father last year, and my days were packed. The whole thing with Isabel and Ethan was quickly pushed to the back of my mind. I made no move, didn't even try to contact Isabel. She, however, couldn't sit still. For the first time in ages, she came to pick me up from work. I had just finished a meeting with a client. As I walked out of the conference room, Ben told me Isabel was waiting for me in the reception area. I glanced over. She stood up as our eyes met. I looked away, smiled, and walked the client to the door. Isabel hurried after me. Mike, have you been busy? I nodded, then turned to my subordinate. Olivia, let's go over that proposal again. Only after giving the instruction did I turn back to Isabel. Yeah, a bit. Did you need something? Isabel had been studying me since I left the meeting, as if she didn't recognize me. No, it's just we haven't seen each other in a while. Want to get dinner tonight? I booked your favorite restaurant. Sure, but you'll have to wait. I have another meeting. With that, I walked into the conference room with my team. By the time we finished, it was already 7 o'clock. Isabel was still waiting. When she saw me, she teased, "The great Mike is a hard man to get a hold of these days. It's tough just to schedule a dinner." I gave a very corporate apology. Sorry, things at the office have been pretty hectic. Let's go. I barely spoke on the way there. She drove while I closed my eyes and rested. I was genuinely tired. Mike, don't you think we've gotten distant lately? You don't talk to me anymore. Look at our texts. How long has it been since you messaged me? There was a hint of complaint in her voice. I used to be the one sharing every little thing with her, only to be met with her indifference or a dismissive "what's the big deal? Can you stop being so boring?" On our message thread, our last exchange was 3 months ago. I didn't even open my eyes. Just been really tired lately. Sorry. Mike. Isabel sighed. I feel like you're intentionally pushing me away. Well, you haven't reached out to me either. Have you? She seemed taken aback. It was always me who initiated contact. She only ever messaged me for urgent or necessary things. She'd taken my efforts for granted. It made sense she was used to being the center of everyone's universe. You used to have so much to say, she muttered, dissatisfied. I didn't reply. Seeing my silence, she finally got to the point. That stuff in the news recently, it's not true. Mike, are you mad at me? No, you're overthinking it. I knew you were still mad. I was just watching his stream, thought it was funny, so I sent some gifs. Then he said he had an offline event, and I just happened to be in the area. You really don't have to explain to me. I rubbed my temples and cut her off, my patience wearing thin. I truly had no interest in any of this. The undisguised coldness on my face seemed to startle Isabel. She stared for a moment, opened her mouth as if to say something, but then fell silent. The rest of the dinner was tasteless. As we were about to leave, Isabel asked if I wanted to go back to the villa in the hills together. The villa was our marital home, located on the outskirts of the city. Her parents had given it to us, and I had poured a ton of energy into renovating it. After we got married, we barely spent a few nights there. We only ever went back for holidays or to entertain guests. After the wedding, Isabel continued living in her own luxury condo downtown, saying she wanted her own space. Living in that huge villa alone was too empty, so I eventually moved back to my own apartment. Now she was suggesting we go back to our marital home together. Without even thinking, I refused. I have meetings with several suppliers tomorrow. I should just go back to my place. Isabel's face fell, and she looked at me with suspicion, but I didn't care. Are you busy? If you are, you can go ahead. I'll have my driver pick me up. Mike, can we please talk? Talk about what? I feel like you're being really negative right now. Now that I was being cold to her, she seemed to be the one who couldn't handle it. I feigned ignorance, a confused look on my face. I don't feel that way at all. On the contrary, I feel incredibly motivated. My dad was just praising me yesterday. I'm talking about your attitude toward me. I'm sorry if that thing with Ethan caused a misunderstanding. I can explain. I smiled back at her. There's no need, Isabel. I really don't care. She looked a little frantic, thinking I was still holding a grudge. If you don't believe me, I can call him over. Nothing happened between us, I swear. My phone rang. It was my driver, telling me he was outside. After hanging up, I grabbed my bag to say goodbye. She grabbed my wrist. Mike, you've changed. She was right. I had changed. I don't know when it happened, but I'd stopped revolving around her, stopped caring about every little thing she did. But wasn't this what she wanted? I used to put her first in everything, and she repeatedly told me to stop being so clingy. Now I'd finally done it, and she still wasn't satisfied. But I no longer cared. I pried her fingers off my wrist, one by one. People change, Isabel. I do, and so do you. As she stared at me in shock, I walked away without looking back. Isabel started trying harder, checking in on me every day, but I felt a deep sense of repulsion. To me, her current thoughtfulness felt cheap and laughable. I suddenly realized that even being alone with her felt awkward. We had nothing to talk about, and I no longer had any desire to share things with her. I finally began to seriously evaluate our relationship. Maybe it was time for a divorce, but the thought of our families made me hesitate. The person who finally made me decide to divorce Isabel was Ethan. I had never met the guy, but because Isabel started distancing herself from him, he directed his resentment at me. He went on his stream, teary-eyed, talking about how his relationship with his #1 fan was being torn apart by a powerful third party. The guy's morals were twisted, but he had a lot of mindless fans. The comment section was filled with people attacking me. Some even spouted nonsense like, "The one who isn't loved is the real homewrecker." Ben furiously showed me the video. I watched Ethan's performance and laughed out of anger. I immediately forwarded the video to Isabel. "What is up with your little boyfriend? Can you please keep me out of your drama? If you want to divorce me and marry him, I'll sign the papers right now." Isabel called me immediately, insisting she just stumbled upon his stream, found him amusing, and treated him like a friend. She'd sent a few gifts but was ignoring him now. I told her to make sure he never bothered me again, and she readily agreed. Apparently, Isabel and Ethan had a huge fight. She later told me it was handled. I didn't ask for details, nor did I care to. But I never expected Ethan to go on stream again, this time falsely accusing me of hiring people to threaten him and his family. He claimed I was using my wealth and power to bully a self-made man from a humble background. He painted himself as a poor victim oppressed by a rich bully, and it resonated with a lot of people. Ethan was a major influencer with millions of followers. His words were highly inflammatory. His stream and videos were viewed and liked by tens of millions, and a wave of negative public opinion crashed down on the JM Corporation. A few people, pretending to be customers, showed up at our corporate building with banners, protesting supposed problems with our products. All sorts of accusations were hurled at us. Even my parents, who were traveling abroad, got wind of it and called to ask me what was going on. My grandfather founded this company. Now that it was in my hands, only we knew the hard work that had gone into it. I didn't care if Ethan wanted to latch onto Isabel, but if he tried to mess with our company, I would not tolerate it. I immediately called the police, sent our products to the Quality Control Bureau for testing, and publicly released the official reports confirming their quality. At the same time, I had our legal team issue a cease and desist letter and file a lawsuit against Ethan personally. The streaming platform banned his channel. I took the initiative and messaged Isabel. "Are you free? Let's meet up this afternoon." She replied instantly, "Yes, I am. What do you want to eat? I'll make a reservation. I'll pick you up tonight." When we met, her face was beaming. "Mike, what made you want to have dinner with me? I actually have something to discuss with you." During dinner, I casually brought up Ethan. "So, how are things with you and that influencer boyfriend of yours?" "Mike, he's not my boyfriend. Yesterday I got some pictures of you two out at a club. I thought you were going to marry him. Ethan had somehow gotten my social media handle and used a burner account to send me a bunch of photos of him and Isabel getting cozy, including one he took while she was asleep. I passed my phone to Isabel. These photos aren't fake, are they? Isabel's expression shifted several times as she looked at the pictures. She carefully explained, I went to a bar with some girlfriends a few nights ago. I don't know how he showed up. I'd had too much to drink, and he was just helping me. I just watched her quietly. I couldn't care less what their relationship was. I had made up my mind because I realized that as long as I was tied to her, I would always be dragged down by her. A leopard can't change its spots. She would cheat again and again, bringing me endless trouble. My entire focus was on the company now. I didn't want to be distracted by this kind of mess anymore. I really didn't contact him. He just showed up. We didn't do anything. If you don't believe me, I can call him over. You can ask Wendy too. I took out the divorce agreement and handed it to her. Let's get a divorce. As for assets, our finances have always been separate. What's in your name is yours, and what's in mine is mine. The rest of the details are in the contract. You should take a look. Isabel stared at me, her face full of disbelief. She gripped the papers so tightly her knuckles turned white. Mike, are you serious? Her voice trembled. Yes. Sign it and we'll both be free. Why? I know I was a jerk before, but I never thought about divorcing you. Well, I want to. Isabel, I don't love you anymore. She let out a self-deprecating laugh, threw the agreement on the floor, and grabbed my shoulders. Why? You've loved me for 10 years. How can you just say you don't love me anymore? You're right, I loved you for 10 years. And how did you treat me? No one waits forever. 10 years is long enough. It's time for it to end. She looked guilty, her eyes pleading. Can we start over? Please? Didn't you always want to see the Great Rift Valley? And the Serengeti? I'll book the tickets right now. She looked at me with hopeful eyes. Going to Africa was a dream of mine. We had planned to go there for our honeymoon. But thanks to her, that honeymoon never happened. I've already been to Africa. She looked stunned. When? With who? Why didn't I know? 3 years ago, after we got married. I went alone. Her shoulders slumped as if all the air had been let out of her. Her face went pale, and she managed a bitter smile. I'm sorry. That phrase was so cheap. The time she hurt me the most was the year we got married. I was 24 when we got married. Even though it was basically an arranged marriage, I was incredibly happy. Our families knew each other well, our social standing was equal, the wedding was extravagant, and I loved the house her parents gifted us. Everything seemed so perfect. But I never imagined that the day after our wedding, I would become the laughingstock of the entire city. The night our wedding of the century ended, someone posted an intimate video with Isabel online. It included several clips of them in bed. At the end of the video, the man tearfully claimed they had a child together, born via a secret surrogacy. The baby was already 3 months old, and he didn't know what to do, so he was asking the internet for advice. He also posted the child's birth certificate and a surrogacy agreement. The moment I saw that video, my blood ran cold. I never thought that the happiness I had fought so hard to protect would leave me with nothing but lies and betrayal. The man showed up at our door with paparazzi in tow, demanding Isabel take responsibility. He gave her 2 options: divorce me and marry him, or pay him $100 million in child support. But Isabel wasn't interested in either. She just tossed the problem to me. Mike, what do you think we should do? I stared at her in shock, my voice trembling. Don't tell me you expect me to help you raise your mistress's child? She said marrying you was just something she had to do. The man sneered, seeing Isabel's shameless refusal to take responsibility. He was trying to provoke me to get me to back out on my own. She doesn't love you. She couldn't marry her dream guy, so she just picked someone her parents would approve of. Then who is her dream guy? I thought he was just making things up to get what he wanted. But he said a name I never expected, Sean. His birthday is October 14th. That night we were together. She stayed up until midnight just to send someone a happy birthday message. The way she talked about him, her eyes were different, so full of affection, like a schoolgirl with her first crush. That's when I learned that the wild, carefree Isabel could be so devoted to someone. Mike, you really love her, don't you? But she doesn't love you at all. She doesn't deserve you. I'm different. I only love her money. His words sent me into a freezing abyss. Sean. Of course, I knew Sean. He was a few years older than us, and we used to play together as kids. In my memory, he was always smiling, a straight-A student, the role model our parents always told us to look up to. Sean's family had moved their business up north, and the whole family went with them. I hadn't seen him since. I'd heard he went abroad, settled down, and had been married for years. Looking at the man in front of me, I saw a faint familiarity. His eyes, they looked a lot like Sean's. Isabel had been the subject of rumors before, but there was never any concrete proof, and she always cut ties cleanly, so I'd assumed they were just misunderstandings. I started thinking back to her past rumored flings, and I realized they all had something in common. They all resembled Sean in some way. It was like waking from a dream. I was shaking with rage. I grabbed Isabel by the collar. So it's always been Sean? Why? What's wrong with me? She never stayed up until midnight to wish me a happy birthday. She couldn't even remember my birthday. It turned out she did have a heart, it was just already full of someone else, with no room left for me. Faced with the truth, I started laughing and crying at the same time. Her eyes were cold as she pried my hands off and smoothed the wrinkles on her clothes. Can you stop being so dramatic? This has nothing to do with Sean. With all these reporters here, have you thought about how much trouble you're causing for him? Fine, I get it. I won't mention him again. You'd be heartbroken if his precious reputation got even slightly tarnished. Wouldn't you? I looked at her, my heart shattering. I slapped her hard across the face, then stumbled to the garage, got in a car and fled. The paparazzi's HD cameras captured my pathetic escape. Within 2 hours, I was a trending topic. I hadn't done anything wrong, yet I was being paraded around online like a clown for everyone to mock. I wanted to get away, to escape to some country where no one knew me. The honeymoon tickets had been booked long ago and were non-refundable. I grabbed my luggage and headed to the airport alone. I was gone for half a year. Other than regularly checking in with my parents, my phone was off. I saw the sights of Africa by myself. On the plains of the Serengeti, witnessing the raw brutality of nature made my own heartbreak seem much smaller. When I came back, Isabel apologized to me and wrote a formal letter of promise in front of both our parents. I chose to forgive her. My father had asked me if I wanted a divorce, if I wanted to cut ties with her completely. I hesitated. Yes, I was pathetic. I had loved her for so many years, and the thought of becoming strangers was just too painful. But even after forgiving her, I wasn't happy. The fact that she almost had another man's child was a thorn in my side. The slightest movement made it feel like I was bleeding internally. Seeing me so listless, my dad told me to start coming to work with him. He said he was going to gradually hand the company over to me. Our company was 50 years old, founded by my grandfather. 2 generations of hard work had built it into what it was today. I remember my dad taking me on a factory inspection. He told me, we have over 200,000 people working in our factories. You have to work hard, and you have to be careful with every step you take. This factory isn't just about her family, it's about 200,000 families. If it fails due to mismanagement, that would be a terrible sin. My father clapped me on the shoulder. From now on, this responsibility will gradually become yours. I hope you can shift all your focus onto the company. I started going to work with him, visiting the factories, meeting clients and distributors. The busy schedule did a lot to pull me out of my slump. Isabel was still photographed with other men a few more times after that. I made a scene a couple of times, but I never felt that same soul-crushing pain again. Maybe I was numb. Or maybe I knew that the root of the problem wasn't the men she was with, because they all carried a shadow of Sean. And it wasn't Sean's fault either. He probably had no idea he was someone's first love. Isabel picked up the agreement again and smoothed it out in front of me. Mike, we've been together for so many years. I don't want it to end like this. I'm not signing this. I had expected her to refuse, but my mind was made up. If I had to, I would just spend the time and sue for divorce. As we were in a standoff, Ethan burst in. Isabel, I knew you'd be here. Isabel's face darkened. Are you following me? I just happened to have plans to meet a friend here. Ethan's voice lacked conviction. He shot a nervous glance at me. Isabel just frowned, annoyed and confused. Actually, it's good you're both here. The three of us need to clear the air. I sat back down and motioned for them to sit. I was the one who had asked Ethan to come. After getting banned from the streaming platform, Ethan had tried to stream using other accounts, but nothing worked. Facial recognition technology is pretty advanced now. The platform locked his profile the moment he appeared on camera. The stream would be shut down. He was used to a lavish lifestyle fueled by big donations. With his income gone, he had to find another way. On top of that, our lawsuit for his slanderous comments was heading to court soon. He was facing possible jail time and desperately needed a lifeline. Of all the people he knew, Isabel was his best bet. He wasn't about to let her go. He'd been messaging me on social media every day, trying to provoke me into a divorce. I couldn't wait to be rid of Isabel. If he could get her to sign the papers, I would owe him one. Mike, there's really nothing between us, Isabel said, quickly trying to distance herself from Ethan. I threw my hands up and looked at Ethan with mock sympathy. See? Ms. Isabel doesn't seem to know you that well. Did you call me here just to humiliate me? I know you're a rich kid. I can't compete with you. But everyone knows your marriage is just for show. You've been sleeping in separate beds for ages. If it weren't for your family, do you think Isabel would even give you the time of day? I sighed internally. If he wanted to win her over, he should be charming her, not just attacking me. I pulled a stack of photos from my bag and tossed them in front of him. Take a look. These are all the other guys your dear Isabel has had flings with. You're not the first and you won't be the last. Notice any similarities in how they look? Ethan picked up the photos, his expression puzzled. You're all just stand-ins for her first love, the one she could never have. Mike, stop talking nonsense. I don't have a first love. That's all in the past, Isabel protested. I ignored her and kept my eyes on Ethan. The one who's refusing to sign the divorce papers is your dear Isabel, not me. I pushed the divorce agreement toward Isabel again. Sign it, Ms. Isabel. Then you and your little boy toy can fly off into the sunset together. Isabel snatched the papers and tore them to shreds. Stop this nonsense. This is between us. Why are you bringing an outsider in to watch the show? You see? She's the one who won't let go. Isabel, is what he's saying true? Ethan bit his lip, looking at her with a pitiful expression. I stood up, grabbed my bag, and patted Ethan on the shoulder. She's all yours. With that, I walked out of the private room, carefully closing the door behind me. I could hear Isabel's furious shout from inside. Mike, what is the meaning of this? Later that night, Ethan sent me a video. The footage was explicit. He was gloating. See? Isabel still loves me as much as ever. I smirked and saved the video. For the next few days, Isabel didn't contact me. Instead, I got a call from my father-in-law. Mike, when are you free? It's been a while since I've seen you and Isabel. It's my birthday next week. You two should come over for a family dinner. He had watched me grow up and always treated me well. Couldn't refuse, so I agreed. On the day of his birthday party, all his old friends were there. He pulled me to his side and bragged about me to everyone he met. I knew several of the other uncles as well. We moved in similar circles, and they chatted with me warmly. The atmosphere was pleasant. A little while later, Isabel arrived and stood quietly by my side. One of the uncles joked with her. Isabel, why aren't you hanging out with the other ladies? She smiled, glanced at me, and replied, Mike's here. Look at that, you two are just like newlyweds, thick as thieves. We only borrowed your husband for a few minutes, and you're already here to claim him. It's true. Isabel has really matured. Women just mature later, don't they? They only figure out what they want when they're older. A few years ago, Isabel was always driving people crazy. Look at her now, so composed. The uncles went on, praising Isabel. My father-in-law just smiled. It's all thanks to Mike's patience. I was never happy with anything that girl did, but when she started dating Mike, I supported it 100%. Isabel, you better take good care of your husband from now on. No more making him suffer. Look at all the crap you put him through. Only Mike would tolerate you. Their banter made me uncomfortable, but I couldn't say anything. I just had to smile and play along. I know, Dad. I'm working on it, Isabel said. She came over and took my hand. I tried to pull away, but she gave me a pleading look. Mike, haven't you always wanted to meet Ken? He's here today. I'll take you to him. Ken? You used to complain about never getting a chance to talk shop with him. Then I remembered. The Ken she was talking about was Ken, an industry titan I deeply respected. I had wanted to meet him for a long time but never had the chance. I had mentioned it to Isabel once. Ken worked with my mother back in the day, she explained, seeing my confusion. He went abroad for a while, and when he came back, he settled up north. But they've stayed in touch over the years. But back then, when I was losing my mind over a problem with our company's product, I had told Isabel how much I wished I could consult with Ken. She knew him then, but she never offered to help. Now that our company's problems were solved, the need wasn't as urgent. Still, always eager to learn, I went with Isabel to meet him. Isabel stayed by my side the whole time, playing the part of the perfect, doting wife. Even Ken praised her for being more driven than before. As we were leaving, Isabel looked at me hopefully. It's getting late. The traffic back to the city will be bad. Why don't we just stay at the villa in the hills? The villa was only a 20-minute drive from her parents' house. Stay where? It's not like you don't have a room here, her father chimed in. You two haven't been back to see me in ages. Mike can keep me company tonight. I felt awkward. If I stayed, I would have to share a room with Isabel. But faced with my father-in-law's earnest gaze, I couldn't bring myself to disappoint him. Just then, my phone rang. Mike, bad news. There's an emergency at the office. We need you to come in personally. I put the phone on speaker, and Ben's frantic voice sounded jarringly out of place in the warm, friendly atmosphere. I let out a sigh of relief, hung up, and looked at them apologetically. I'm so sorry. Something came up at work. It must be urgent if they're still there this late. I should go. I'll drive you. Isabel pulled out her car keys and walked ahead of me. I followed her out the door, where my driver was already waiting. My driver's here. You've had a long day. You should stay here and spend some time with them. Mike, Isabel said, her expression crestfallen. She let out a long sigh. Your driver got here fast. You just don't want to be alone with me, do you? I stayed silent. Is there anything I can do to make you come back? No. Can we please start over? No. With that, I got in the car without a second glance. It wasn't that I hadn't given her chances. I'd given her countless chances. I'm never signing those papers. Never. Her voice came from behind me. I scoffed and got in the car. The next day, I gathered my thoughts and called my father-in-law to tell him I was divorcing Isabel. All I heard on the other end was a long, weary sigh. After a long silence, he asked, Mike, I watched you grow up. You're like a son to me. After all these years together, are you sure you want to throw it all away? Besides, she knows she was wrong. She's changing. Can't you give her one more chance? I thought for a moment. All I could say was, I'm sorry. My father-in-law was a good man, but he was still her father. My own dad would only tell me to get a divorce. Hers would always tell me to forgive. The pain from 3 years ago was still fresh. That thorn was still lodged in my heart. Just because I didn't look at it didn't mean it wasn't there. Isabel started acting like a repentant child, coming to my office every day to bring me 3 meals. I told her to stop many times, but she ignored me. I was busy with work, usually just ordering takeout. So, she had her housekeeper cook for me and would drive it over herself. Sometimes she would cook. Whenever I ate something she made, she would always ask, how is it? Do you like it? If you do, I'll make it for you more often. She was acting just like I used to. I used to joyfully prepare 3 meals a day for her. I, who had never cooked, learned how to make soups and stir-fries. But there was no going back. I brought up the divorce again. Her eyes welled up with tears, her voice raw. Why won't you forgive me this time? The truth is, I'm not a forgiving person. I'm petty and I hold grudges. The only reason I forgave her before was because I loved her. I couldn't bear to lose her, so I swallowed my pride. Now that the love was gone, all the pent-up resentment came flooding out. Everything about her annoyed me. Seeing my silence, she laughed bitterly. I suddenly feel like I don't know you anymore. Are you even the same Mike I knew? The truth is, you never knew me at all. Isabel still refused to sign. I went back to the villa in the hills and packed up all my things. I just wanted to be done with her as soon as possible. Before I left, I looked around the empty house, a pang of sadness in my chest. When her mother bought us the house, she told us to decorate it however we wanted. I had studied design, so I designed the entire house myself. I hired a construction company and spent every day with the workers, agonizing over every detail. It took over a year to get the house exactly how I wanted it. While I was decorating, I dreamed of a life with Isabel, of the family we would have, of happy days spent together. But on our very first day living here, her affair hit me like a ton of bricks, and this place became a monument to my heartbreak. I handed the divorce case over to my lawyers and took my team to Europe for a business trip. By the time I returned, 6 months had passed. Thanks to Isabel's refusal to cooperate, the divorce still wasn't finalized. As for Ethan, he and his fans were found guilty of slandering me and the JM Corporation. Ethan was sentenced to a year in prison. The fans who had caused a scene at our company all got 6 months to a year as well. The day I got back, Isabel somehow found out my flight details and came to the airport to meet me with a bouquet of flowers. She looked worn out after 6 months. The moment she saw me, she rushed over, her face lit up with joy. "You're finally back. Mike, I've missed you so much." Anyone who didn't know us would have thought we were a loving couple. She reached out to hug me, but I subtly stepped aside. It has been a while. Her face fell, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Honey, I missed you." "Ms. Isabel, you shouldn't use that title so freely. If I remember correctly, the second hearing for our divorce case is coming up soon. Isn't it? Are you that desperate to get rid of me?" "Mike, who are you talking to? Who is this? Aren't you going to introduce us?" A pleasant female voice came from behind me. A graceful woman was standing by my side. I laughed. My soon-to-be ex-wife, Isabel. She nodded at Isabel. Vivian Lynn. Vivian Lynn's reputation preceded her. She was the only daughter of Henry Lynn, the richest man in the city and head of the Lynn Group. She was a prodigy, outperforming her peers in every way. She was accepted into a prestigious foreign university at 14, and after earning her PhD, she founded her own investment firm. In recent years, every project she invested in yielded returns of several hundredfold, making her a star in the investment world. I had met her by chance on my trip. When I mentioned our company's industry, she happened to be interested and said she wanted to visit our factories for a tour. Isabel's face changed. She pointed at Vivian and demanded, "Are you divorcing me for her?" I scoffed. "Isabel, Ms. Lynn and I are just business partners. And let's get something straight. I didn't even know her when I filed for divorce." Vivian frowned slightly, looking Isabel up and down. "Mike, this is your ex-wife? She has a mountain of her own scandals but has the nerve to spread rumors about us. How pathetic." Isabel's face was ashen. Her fists clenched so tight her knuckles were white. Her eyes looked like they were about to shoot fire. "Mike, over here." I looked toward the voice and saw Ben waving excitedly. "Let's go. The company car is here." We turned and walked away, leaving Isabel standing there, seething with hatred. "Do you want my help with your divorce?" Vivian asked, seeing my serious expression and thinking I was upset. "Thanks, but I've got it." I politely declined Vivian's offer of help. "Why? Weren't you just complaining about it?" "The Lynn family has some business dealings with her family. I could apply some pressure on a corporate level. Isabel would probably back down. Our families have known each other for generations. I don't want it to get too ugly. Besides, this is between two family. If an outsider gets involved, people will talk." Seeing Vivian's frown, I smiled. "Don't worry. I have a way to make her let go." The day after I got back, my family threw a welcome home dinner for me. Isabel came with her father. In front of everyone, she knelt before me. "Mike, I was wrong. I didn't know what I wanted before, But I do now. You're the one I want to spend my life with. Please, give me one more chance. My father-in-law's eyes were red as he came over and took my hand. Mike, just give her one more chance, please? I chuckled softly, leaned in, and whispered something in her ear. She hesitated for a moment, then finally stood up and signed the divorce papers. Since we didn't have many shared assets, and I couldn't care less about her family's money, our divorce was finalized quickly. We were finally strangers. We still saw each other occasionally at business functions, but we would just exchange a cool nod. Vivian and I quickly reached a cooperation agreement. On the day of the ribbon-cutting ceremony for our new project, dozens of media outlets came to cover the event. Our new production line used the most advanced technology, and numerous industry experts praised and endorsed it. I was on the front page again, but this time it wasn't for a personal scandal. It was as a prominent entrepreneur giving an interview to the press. After the ceremony, Vivian asked if I wanted to grab a drink to celebrate. I readily agreed. At the entrance to the bar, we ran into Isabel drinking alone. Her hair was a mess, and she had none of her usual confident swagger. Vivian smirked. I hear things haven't been going so well for her lately. Oh, I was surprised. I hadn't been following her family's situation at all. The W Corporation has cash flow problems. Half of their factories have been mortgaged. Vivian explained with a smile. No wonder none of her fair weather friends are around anymore. By the way, how did you finally get her to willingly sign the divorce papers? Vivian had always been curious about that. I just shook my head and smiled. It was nothing, really. I just told her that her first love had also gotten a divorce. If she didn't sign, I was going to send him that explicit video of her and the little streamer. That's it? I nodded. Isabel would never want her first love to see a video like that. Whether she ever confessed her feelings to Sean in the end, I have no idea. Isabel was my first love, too. Sean was far away in another country, like the moon in the sky, bright, beautiful, and forever out of reach in Isabel's heart. And my own obsession with Isabel, after 10 years of pain, had finally been laid to rest. People can be haunted their whole lives by what they couldn't have when they were young. But eventually, something happens that finally sets them free. I raised my glass to Vivian and smiled. To a successful partnership.